Dear guests, I want to introduce you our next speaker, Dr. Misbahur Rahman, who is going to speak about reimagining tafsīr for the digital age, the case of Jami' al-Bayan by Ibn Jarir al-Tabari. Misbahur Rahman is currently a research fellow in the project Linked Open Tafsīr, and he is one of the leading members of the research group. He's the coordinator concerning the digitalization of al-Tabari's exegetical work. And he's responsible for creating the database and the open access website with many tools for the research on Tabari's Jami' al-Bayan. Dr. Rahman made his MA or earned his MA at the International Islamic University Islamabad in 2006 and his PhD in 2013 at the University of Erfurt on the role of commentaries in Islamic scholarship from margin to center. Dear Misbah, welcome to our panel. It is great to see you and great to have you here.
I will be talking basically about our current project, as Sardar Kurnas has mentioned. The Tafsīr al-Tabari project is digitization, a database that could be searched and used for research by scholars. I will give you a little bit of context so you can understand how this database will be different from the existing databases. Of course, it wouldn't be possible to talk about all the aspects of the database, but a few important things to understand how it can be used in the future and what exactly we are doing at the moment. So first of all, let's talk about the past technologies. In the past, as we know, I will not talk, of course, about it in detail. It's just for the context, so we understand what exactly is the project about. In the past, we had the oral, the written, and of course, about the past. So we had oral, written, and then came the print. So in early Islam, we had the oral transmission of knowledge, then written words came in. Writing, of course, is a very disruptive technology. Before this, you had to find someone to listen to them and get the knowledge. After writing, you can now save the knowledge, which is a huge step. You cannot just save it, but you can actually stake it, save knowledge one about the other. So unlimited, like a libraries. So it was a very big step, and then, of course, still limited because we have very few manuscripts that you have to find out. Then came the print, which made it a little bit more widespread. It also was very important technology. And now, after that, we are living in digital age, which is also called information age. Because it's, again, a very disruptive technology. All the knowledge is easily accessible, and it's expanding quite fast. We are lucky, I would say, that in this technological leap, we did not have those oppositions that we saw in the writing and in the print, that most of the people were against those technologies at the beginning. And it's normally common, people are against the new technologies. But we are lucky that in digital age, we did not have those kind of opposition against the technology, and it has been adopted very well. We have digital libraries existing for almost more than 20 years now. Islamic digital libraries, I mean. Of course, the most famous one is Shamila, which came in 2005, but before that also we had some of the libraries. Before Shamila, of course, they were very simple. It was just digitized text. You can just search it like normally you would search a Word file. Then the Shamila changed that, but I will come to that. But we know that there are many different kinds of Shamilas that came after it, because Shamila had a profound effect. Let me show you, I guess, how, sorry, I guess I will have to go to, yeah, so here you can see in the top, there is a normal search, which you can call a simple search. And then here at the bottom right, you have Jawami al-Kalim, bottom left, you have Shamila. So at the beginning, it was just a simple search. Shamila came in and brought in this very advanced search where you can search a lot more things, not just, you know, one word inside a book. Like word file, you are searching it, you find. Still, it was quite important, of course, in the early search as well, because before that digitization, you can just imagine how people would find hadith in 10 books. First, you have to find those books, and then you have found specific hadith in all those books, and then you have to find every rawi in Rijal books. So it would take days. After that, it was just a matter of minutes, if not seconds, to find a specific hadith and also a specific rawi. With this multi-field search of Shamila, you could also basically do a very advanced search, in a sense that, for example, you have word which you can search, but you can also search for the people, which is like narrator or rawis. You can also search for specific topics, and you can search all these things inside a specific books. Then there is also, you can search the words inside a book, but you can name multiple words. For example, I want to search this word, and this word, but not this word. Or you can say, this is, you know, Boolean logic, which you can use different words, and in between you say this word should be included, this word should be excluded, this word should be included, or that word. So and, or, and not. So these different logics were introduced. So because of this, of course, Shamila became quite famous for searches. After that came, of course, other libraries as well, but none of them actually went beyond this simple search. What they did was they included more and more books to the Shamila collection. So if before there were 2,000 books, now there were 4,000, 6,000. Now there are Shamilas with almost 40,000 books. So you have more books, but the basic search capabilities still remain the same. You can search words, plus words, minus words, words, this word or that word, and inside a specific book. Now, what we are doing is basically the next step after this simple search, which I have called here the future linked open tafsīr. How is it different? First of all, I will show you the simple search. How will the simple search be different? So there you could find, of course, a specific word, but you have to know exactly which word you have to search, and then you will find it in there. You can, of course, find a specific word or specific person or specific topic, and that's it. For advanced search, you can search multiple words at the same time. Here, you can see that we have a lot more that you can actually find inside a book. For example, there could be specific groups, specific events, specific locations. So, for example, you can find all the specific locations that are mentioned inside Tabari, or a specific, I mean, all location or a specific location is up to you, because sometimes the location has different names. It could be Makkah, it could be Qura, it could be other names that are mentioned inside Tabari with this location, you can find all of them at once. Similarly, you can, of course, search all specific kind of hadith, all the naskh or asbab hadith, for example, all the specific topic related hadith, for example, all the hadith or texts related to fiqh, related to kalam, etc., etc. These are, you know, simple things that are now much more, because all of them are tagged inside the text. That means you can find these things very precisely, and not just precisely, you can do statistical search on that as well. So for example, you can find exactly how many locations are mentioned in these kind of hadiths, for example. And what hadiths, I mean, how many hadiths actually mention Medina, and how many hadiths actually mention Makkah, and what kind of hadiths mention these kind of words, and what kind of hadiths mentions those kind of groups. For example, Tughrul in the morning showed us in Madani verses, these kind of words were mentioned. In Makkah surahs, these kind of words were mentioned. So those kind of statistics you can easily find. And of course, it doesn't stop here. There are subcategories, but I will not go into those. For example, naskh. In naskh, we have 21 different subcategories, what kind of naskh it is actually. So you do not just find, you know, specific event or specific location or time. You go into the further details of those specific topics, and you can find all different categories. This also means that you can find all the different possibilities of a specific thing that you have here on the screen. For example, how many different kinds of asbab, or for example, naskh, or for example, times or locations are there inside tafsīr Tabari. And of course, we are talking about tafsīr Tabari, but the technology, once it's developed, of course, it goes further and further to other books as well. It doesn't stop at a specific book. More and more books could be included, as I showed you in case of Shamila. Now, this was, you know, simple kind of search that you can search for all these different things, but then you can have those advanced search, which, for example, Shamila brought at that time. But at that time, this was only about a specific word. You can search different words, this word and this word and this word. But here you have unlimited possibilities and combinations. I mean, you could search whatever basically you could imagine. For example, you can take a specific, let's say, let me show you specific searches about hadith, let's say. If I want to find a specific hadith with a specific location, for example, I want all the hadith where Makkah is mentioned. I want all the hadith where, for example, Ghazwat Badr is mentioned, or for example, I want all the hadith where Ahlul Kitab is mentioned. So you can find all those hadiths. You can, for example, say also that I want all the hadiths which have this person in the sanad. You can find all those hadiths, but you can also say that I want a hadith which has this person and this person in the sanad. Or you can say this person and this person, but not that person in the sanad. The same, you can go then to the matan, for example. You can say, okay, I want in matan this and this, but not that. Then you can combine them, and you can say, I want this and this person in the sanad, and this thing in the matan, or this and this thing in the sanad, but not this and this in matan. So you can combine, for example, this is just about sanad and matan, but you can do this with everything that you can see here at the on the screen. So you can say something which has naskh and qira'at inside the hadith. I want that kind of hadith. Or a hadith which has, for example, time, this time and that location, plus it is about kalam. But it is not about fiqh. So, you know, combinations are limitless that you can think about and use as you need. The next step is then you can, you know, create your own logic about, or research questions about those kind of, you know, searches. Again, I'll just give you the hadith example, but these are very, let's say, basic examples. But to give you just the idea how you can use it and then take it further and further according to your own needs, because everyone has their own different kinds of research questions and what their own kinds of data that they need. So, for example, in hadith, you could search a specific person and plus this person, plus this person, plus this. That means you can find a specific sanad, right? But then you can compare that sanad with another sanad, and you can find if there is, for example, there are 10 different isnad. One sanad has one rawi which is different. Now, of course, this difference could be genuine, but this difference could also be a mistake, which, of course, I don't want to go into those things that you will have to decide and how you could do that and all these things, but just want to give you the idea. Then, for example, in matan, you can find this word and this one and this word. And also you can find, for example, a specific matan and then compare it with another matan. In that case, also you can find a specific difference between different mutun. And you can see that which difference is important for you, and then you can link it, or let's say cross-reference it with the sanad. Because whenever a sanad, when you have, for example, 20 different isnad, whenever a sanad progresses, the matan changes. Always these changes are linked with specific people. Almost always, I think 99.9% you would see that this change is linked with that specific person. Let me show you, for example. This is, for example, let's say these are different isnads, which I randomly just took one map. Now, as you can see here, there are different narrators at the bottom. This person has narrated, this has narrated, this. But up top, they are connecting with each other. Now here are A, B, C, D, E, F. These are actually the words mentioned in the hadith. A is one word, B is second word, C is third word. Now how you can compare, for example, that here, all the other isnad, let's say 10 isnads, mention the hadith as A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But these 3 isnad at the top, they mention it as A, B, C, H, E, F, G, for example. Either the words are changed, the words are exchanged or changed, as you can see it in the sanad. Now, if it was changed in just one of them, then you could say, okay, that person might have changed it, it might be a mistake, it might be whatever reason. But for example, if the top 3 have changed it, these top 3 combine here in this one, which I cannot really see the name, but because it's too small, but this person, as you can see, this person has combined these 3 people. So these 3 people have changed the sanad. It means it was changed by that person where this 3 combined. So I think you would understand what exactly I'm going to. It's not matan analysis, but of course there are certain limitation and certain, but statistically you can do that. After that, of course, you can go on and have your own research and find out what are genuine, what are not, and separate them from each other. But we can go then one step further. And for example, here I can say, let's say there are 10 people and one person is narrating differently. All the other 10 people are narrating the hadith differently. So we know maybe this one person is right, the other 10 are wrong, but majority-based decision, we would say this person has made a mistake compared to others. So mostly it is taken like these things. But we can go further than that, and we can see, for example, we have a big data. So we can see this person in another hadith. If this person is making the same mistake in other hadith as well, then we are sure that this is the person who is making mistake. We can also then look at the mistake and see, okay, is he taking up his own ideology? Is he taking up something specific that he is bringing into the hadith? All those things that you can, but what I'm coming to is that based on all those collection of all those hadiths of this specific person, you can see that always he has made a mistake. He's telling you something different than others. That means this person is not really very reliable. So it's not based now on what the other people say about this person, but this is now based on data. We look at the data and we see that, okay, there are these kind of issues in the data. Now, one can go on and on about, ranking the different ruwat and ranking the different hadiths. For example, you can also do, let's say, one rawi here is fulan. So you can compare all the isnad and you can find out who is this fulan. Or someone has made a mistake, and all these things, unlimited again. You can do as much as you want, but the time is a little bit shorter. So I would just go to the next one, which is the machine learning. Now, whatever we have done, whatever I have showed you, this research and everything, those things are, of course, for normal usage, a database, but we are also then developing a machine learning model which will learn from this work. Now, as you can see here, we are pointing out or taking everything inside the text, every vacation, as I mentioned, all those things, which you saw before. Now, at the moment, we have the largest classical Arabic data set in the world, which is manually prepared for machine learning. It has never been done before with such a, there actually don't exist such a large data set in the world for classical Arabic machine learning. So we have created that, and of course, then machine will be learning from that. Of course, it takes time for the machine to improve itself, but it's a start, and we're quite hopeful that in the future, when the machine learns from this data, we will be able to apply this to other books and be able to take those books as well. Now, how much will be the accuracy? We'll have to see that, of course, but still it will be much definitely better than the humans. And even if the human has to do the corrections, it will also be easier, but also when the human beings make corrections, it means the machine learns from its mistakes. So, all these things are then kind of together bringing the data into more interactive position. In a sense, you have more and more taking inside. You can even then take it one step further to the NLP, where the machine will actually itself understand almost everything, like the Google English mostly understand the text. Arabic is still in the progress, but then machine understands everything. But beyond that, actually, beyond the machine learning, of course, this is what we are doing, and this is also important to mention that it's a team effort, of course. As you can see, this is a big task, so it's not for one person or two or three people. So we have a team of all these people, and of course, with the support of AIWG, that we are working on these things. That you can see it on our website, which will be available in the next few weeks. You will see all the details there as well. So this was about the future of which is linked open tafsīr. But of course, the things will go beyond that, which I will, of course, not discuss it. It's beyond the reach, or let's say it's beyond the foreseeable future, but it's still there, where the human and machines will be one, which will be a hybrid human AI or human machine model, which already has been actually developed. If you have been following, let's say, the Neuralink by Elon Musk, for example, it is one of the ways he is doing it. There are many other ways also to do that. But for example, in few months ago, in this year, he showed a chimpanzee which was playing computer game with brain. I mean, all of us play with brain, but it was without touching anything, without touching computer. So directly, there was a chip in the brain of the monkey, and it was playing the computer game without touching it at all. So in this sense, the chip is actually, let's say, extension of your mind, which means your mind would get bigger, with bigger memory, with bigger neurons, and with bigger capacity with time. And even Elon would say, he said that In 10 years, the language will be redundant, which means we will not need to speak anymore, because you could clearly convey your thoughts to others directly through the chip. So why would you need to speak? What will happen to the language? He said, I don't know. But now you can, of course, question Elon Musk's timeline, but you cannot question his results because he always delivers. So that's beyond this project, of course, but in this project, at least we will reach this stage, which I showed you, that you will be able to search all those things which I showed you on the screen in any combinations that you can imagine or you can think of. And I think the time is over, so I will just thank you all for your attention.